our town clerk, town leader, fellow councillor, members of the public, good evening and welcome to our East City Town Council virtual meeting. Today is Monday, the 6th of July. Now, I just want to remind that this meeting is being recorded. The recording will appear on the council website in a few days. In order to vote, councillors are asked to show their hand to the camera and hold it up until advised by the chair. To indicate that you wish to speak during any item, please use the raise hand button on the Zoom functions. It is in different places depending on your device being used. Generally, if you click on participants, it will appear on the bottom of the panel on the right. But please locate it and use it to be recognized. This helps the chair and vice chair. Thank you. Now, the first agenda of the meeting is public question time. The public are welcome to ask questions of the council on matters that arise under its remit. The question should not be a statement, and it would be appreciated to be kept short to maximize the time for other questions. So is there any question from the members of the public?
Chairman, you've got two notified. You've got Mr. Barnes and you've got Mr. Mockford.
Okay. So I start with Mr. Barnes, please.
Okay. In the Finance and General Purpose Committee meeting held on the 18th of June 2020, agenda item 17 shows that the council has £1,303,443 either on deposit or in the bank. I'll repeat that so you can write it down. £1,303,443. At the Amenities and Tourism meeting held on the 14th of March 2019, the committee decided that the cost of repair of the 130-year-old town clock, that's the Thomas Cramp clock, cost £3,244, was a significant expenditure, and made the decision to consider replacing this 130-year-old clock with a hideous LED display. I have two questions for the council. Do the council believe that hideous LED display on one of the main entrances to the town centre is in keeping with the town's historical significance? And secondly, now that the council finds itself in funds to the tune of £1,303,443, should it not be reconsidering the A&T decision and repair the 130-year-old clock, thus retaining the town's historical significance?
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Can I refer this question to the chairman of the Amenities and Tourism, Chairman Councillor Kristen Maidstone, please?
Thank you, Town Mayor. Hello, Mr. Barnes.
Hello.
Right. We didn't make a decision at the Amenities and Tourism Committee. It was agreed that we would go ahead and actually see if there was something we could do. We haven't got the figures. Nothing's changed from my last email to you. The fact that we were going to have a look at how much the clock has cost us over the years, and it goes back a long time. But obviously, once everybody's back in the office and they're able to go into the archives to see over the years how much money's been spent. And also, I did say that we would possibly have a meeting with you and possibly James Baldwin to discuss it further. And obviously, until we're allowed to have face-to-face meetings, this won't be possible. But I can assure you, as soon as we can, we will have a meeting with you and the town clerk and vice chair of A&T and see where we go from here. Does that answer your question?
Sorry, I've muted him.
Oh,
Hang on.
You're,
There you go. Oh,
Mr. Barnes,
it's
you are muted, Mr. Barnes.
there you go.
There we go.
Okay.
The issue is that the committee did discuss putting a LED display there instead of the old clock, and I find that quite unbelievable for a town with such a history as East Grinstead. I mean, why was it even discussed?
it was discussed as it was brought up by various councillors round the table on that at that meeting. There was another suggestion, which is we're doing electronic wayfinding signs round the town. Whether we can incorporate that, which would also not only give the time, but give information and to where our historical places are, and also give the history of the town. But these are very, very early stages, and we did not make an absolute decision that we were going to put an LED. That was something that cropped up through a comment of a member of the committee. It wasn't cast in stone, it was just a comment.
Okay, so if you the fact that the council is now cash rich, I mean, would the committee consider having the clock repaired?
We would look into it, but it was felt that we had spent thousands and thousands of pounds over the years, and way back, I don't know how many years, but we had weekly comments from, if you remember, a gentleman called Mr. Howson, who reported to us weekly that it wasn't working. And we'd send, you know, we'd get the repairers out and we'd spend money getting it repaired. It does, unfortunately, attract condensation. And we've tried to sort that out over the years. And of course, once it's got condensation in it, then of course it's not going to work. But I mean, I see your point, and I'm sure that, you know, we can have a meeting once we're all allowed to meet face to face. If you'd like to have a meeting with me and the town clerk and the vice chair, and see where we can go from here. I mean, it is a historical part of the town. I agree, but it was just the fact that we seem to be spending good money after bad, and as fast as we were repairing it, it was going wrong.
Okay, I understand. History does cost a lot of money to be maintained, but I would encourage to have that meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. And let's call on the second one. Is it Mr. Norman Mockford?
Thank you, Chairman. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. I have two questions, two separate questions. Are you happy to take both at this precise moment?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. My first one is regarding the charity grants, as set out in your budget 2021, which is to continue to support community groups. I have been advised that at the moment, no grant monies will be released, but I note that you're still paying Jacobeed their monthly grant of £6,366. Why don't you therefore treat the other groups in the same way and release the grant money? That's my first question. Would you like to answer that first, or should I carry on with the second one?
You can carry on with the second one.
Thank you, Jim. My second one is regarding the Queen's Road Cemetery and the badger population. I note that they've been filmed since March, and that we have paid so far Natural England almost £1,000. Could you therefore update me as to the current situation regarding the removal of the badgers and what will happen to them when they have become homeless? Will they be abandoned or just rehomed? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mockford. The first question, can I ask the chair of the Finance and General Purposes Committee, please, to answer this question?
Thank you, Town Mayor. Yes, in answer to your first question, the grants have already been agreed this year to our various organisations. What the charities have to do, they have to apply for the grants. So if you apply for them and submit your accounts, they will be looked at, and normally you would receive the grant. So I don't know actually how many have actually applied for them at the moment. The town clerk could probably enlighten me on that. But I understand East Grinstead and Bloom have applied, the accounts have been looked at. So as far as I know, you will still be getting your grant for this year. Does that answer your question?
To add to that, to Leader, yeah, absolutely. We have had the application from East Grinstead in Bloom, and that is imminently going to be released. It's not being held up for any particular reason. We did have an initial query of the accounts. That's been resolved, and it's just a case of getting it sorted for you, but it's on its way.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Town Leader and Town Clerk. The second question is about the badgers. Can I refer this to the Chairman of the Amenities in Tourism, please? Councillor Christine Maidstone.
Thank you, Town Mayor. We are working on what Natural England have told us. The badger, can't think of who they are, but we have been given permission. Town clerk will correct me if I'm wrong. To once they move out, they won't be allowed back in. So they will be. They've been filmed and they know where they go, and then their sets will be blocked, and they will have to find a new home. We're not allowed to move them ourselves, which is something that we looked into previously. There's a set time of the year when we could have trapped them and moved them to another venue. But we are working on the information that we're getting from Natural England. So we're abiding by their rules. So as they go out, they won't be allowed back in. Am I right, Town Clerk?
Absolutely, Chair. It's we've been denied a licence for relocation, so therefore what we have to do, and we're following all the rules and doing it exactly as we're being told to do, is that they're being monitored at the moment. We're doing all filming. That the money that's been paid to Natural England, just for Mr. Mockford's information, was for Natural England's advice. It wasn't for Natural England to do any of the work. They don't do the work. We're having to pay another company to do that. But what Natural England did was they had to agree our steps that we were taking, and everything that we're doing is with their agreement. Otherwise, we wouldn't be allowed to do it at all. Chairman's quite correct.
Is that right, Mr. Mockford?
All I'd just like to say, thank you ever so much. Obviously, the badgers will be homeless. Will you be monitoring their health and safety whilst they're roaming around looking for a new set?
I don't think so. I don't know. Town Clerk, are we going to be down there?
The badgers won't be prevented from re-entering until the badgers have shown that they've got somewhere else to go. So they won't actually be homeless.
Town Clerk.
Thank you, Town Clerk. Thank you, Councillor Maidstone. Now, let's go to the second, number 2 of the agenda, which the minute silence in respect of all residents in East Grinstead who have lost their lives to COVID-19. So we would like everyone to have a minute silence, and let's start now. Thank you. The number 3 of the agenda is apologies of absence. Is there any apologies of absence, Town Clerk?
I've had none passed to me. The only councillor who's missing is Councillor Scott, so I don't know if anybody else has had apologies passed on to Councillor Scott, but I haven't. Looks like the leader might have done.
Thank you, Town Clerk. Agenda number 4 is to confirm the minutes of the Town Council meetings held on the 27th of January and the 18th of June. This minutes has been circulated. Can I propose this, that this minutes will be approved as accurate and through records before I sign it? Can I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Deputy Town Mayor. Any questions or any comments on that minutes? No? All in favor? Can you raise your hands, please? Thank you. Unanimous. Thank you. Agenda number 5 is to receive any declarations of personal and pecuniary interest. Is there anyone have an interest on any matters? None. Thank you. Agenda number 6 is the town mayor's announcement. So the list of the charity events that the mayors attended has been circulated. As we all know that this novel coronavirus or COVID-19 is casting a shadow all throughout the world, causing sadness, anxiety, and a very difficult, scary, and challenging situation for all of us. It caused a lot of disruptions and changes in our lives. Well, in fact, my last organized charity events, fundraising event for my charities has been canceled because of this dreadful health crisis. And we almost lost the deposit that was given to Crown Plaza, but finally they managed to agree that it can be used in the future within a year. So hopefully we can still have another events for the charities. Now I would like to take this opportunity to send my deepest sympathies and condolences to those who have lost loved ones because of this COVID-19. And of course, all the people who have been affected or infected. My prayers and best wishes for them. I would like also to thanks all the responsible participations of everyone and preventing the spread of this infection by strictly following the government guidelines. I would like also to take this opportunity to those volunteers who are dedicating themselves in making a difference to the lives of those who are in need, especially the vulnerables. I would like to mention the East Grinstead Emergency Action Group, are so dedicated, committed, and serving our community. Every time I go out to the town, walk around, I always meet volunteers, collecting and delivering prescriptions. I would mention our town leader is always there. I also met a couple of times Councillor Les Bennett walking along the Hallplay Road, delivering the prescription, and many more volunteers who are actively involved in this very good cause. And I'm glad that the general situation is getting better. It's great to be able to know that most of the shops are starting to open now. We were there last Saturday, and it's amazing to meet them, able to show our support to them. I was with a group of councillors, with a town leader and the deputy town mayor, of course, and the rest. So it was a great community spirit, showing them that we support them. And let us continue to be vigilant because there's just an opening towards the normality, but we're not sure what will happen next. It's not they were not yet out of the jungle or out of the woods. So let's keep safe and take care. We don't want to be having the second wave of the pandemic crisis. Now, the major civic activities has been a lot less as expected because of the pandemic. Now, it was circulated, the list of the diary, and in January, just to give you a little bit of highlights, I was invited to attend the Japanese Martial Art Club, which are very proud to represent the East Grinstead and yearly exhibition and competition in Japan. Also, I attended the East Grinstead Young Enterprises, which was held at Sackville School, supported by the East Grinstead Business Association. It's really a very interesting event, and very proud to see this very talented students presenting their own company, presenting their own business plan, report, how they going to sell their product and to have an income. It's really amazing, and really proud of them. And also the induction of the new priest at Our Lady of St. Peter Church, Father Jack. I was there, and he's sitting well. And actually, they started the opening yesterday, attended by at least 1/3 of the normal capacity, maintaining social distancing. The charity dinner organized by one of my group in London, which was very successful. Thanks to Marble, who was really working on it. And also, I attended the step-by-step school, an independent day school, catering students from primary, secondary, and from age to 4 to 19. These are the students suffering from learning difficulty, especially autism. It's amazing really to be able to watch them, giving them a specialized training program for them, education from them. So I highly recommended to visit them, one of these days. And February, I was invited to attend the East Grinstead Macular Support Group, which I was requested to present the latest treatment and management of macular degeneration, and at the same time, my role as a mayor. Also, it was a great opportunity to be able to work with other mayor, like the mayor of Crawley, which we exchanged help. And also in February 9, another very memorable and very successful event, the mayor charity concert at Cherkamid. It was successful. I'm very proud of it, and I would like really to give personal thanks to everyone who supported me. And special mention to Councillor Rex Whitaker and partner Ali, who gave me 100% support. Of course, to Liz Osterman and Ju Wilkins at St. Hills, who provided the transportation of the performers. The East Grinstead Meridian Rotary Club, who provided the light refreshment for the performers. And of course, to Maribel, who is working hard, also helping me. Now, another one is the Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat, stage drama performed by the Sackville School, which are very, very good. It's amazing, really. It's like a professional talent that they perform, and I'm very proud of that. And the Grinstead Talking News, I was invited to and give them also the grant, the check to them, and witnessing how they record the news for the blind. And it's amazing, really. The fair trade breakfast attended by about 50 to 60 young students and St. Peter Catholic School, which was very interesting, really, from fair trade. And March attended the East Grinstead Town Twinning, which was a fundraising lunch chaired by our previous mayor and councillor, ex-councillor Nick Hodges. It was a great moment to support this important, charity. Fair Trade and East Grinstead Museum charity quiz, and also I attended the 100 years birthday celebration of the World War II veterans, Mr. Peter Hipples. It was a great day at the Meridian Hall. And also I was asked to give the Spitfire Society check to Queen Victoria Hospital. I would like to acknowledge really the hard work that was done by Councillor Steve Odie and doing this fundraising by showing the Battle of Britain film festival at the Checkermead. And April, there's nothing, no event that happened. In May, we celebrated the 75th V-Day anniversary, started by the Spitfire flying past over the Queen Victoria Hospital. It's amazing that some patients came out to witness the flyover, and also attended by about 30 staff members from Queen Victoria Hospital. This was followed by the 75th B-Day celebration nation toast, which I'm very proud and very privileged to be able to give a message for the nation toast. It is really one other memorable for me to remember, to cherish. I presented a check from the Hands of Friendship and Grinstead Lodges to East Grinstead Emergency Action Group with the town leader was there. And it's amazing that there are charities that appreciate and help these things that we do for our community, especially this Emergency Action Group. And in June, there are 3 events there. I'll give you the highlight of one of the events is a virtual walk trek to support the Blueville Railway, one of the important charity in East Grinstead. So my wife and myself started walking from 1 mile every day, 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles, and on Saturday we managed to walk about 5 miles to support this charity. And there was a drone that filming while you walk. So it's a great event. And finally, last Saturday in July, we were at the town with the town leader and a group of councillors supporting the businesses when they reopened their shops. So this were the highlights of the events that I attended. I hope this is now the way towards the normality, and I hope there will be no second wave of the pandemic will happen, and let's continue to be careful and take care of ourselves and follow strictly what is the government is advising us. We are not out of the wood, as yet. So praying that soon we'll be back to normal. So that's the highlight of the mayor's event. Is there any question or about that? No? So let's go to the agenda number 7, which is to receive such communication as the leader of the council may desire to lay before the council. May I call on our town leader, Councillor Dick Sweetman, please.
Thank you, Town Mayor. Before I get to my brief, myself and I'm sure this council would wish to send our condolences to the passing of Maribel's father recently. And I know that must have been very frustrating that I believe he was out in the Philippines and obviously there's no flights for you or Maribel to get out there. So I know our thoughts and our prayers are both with you and Maribel, and it's such sad times that it happened during this crisis.
Yeah,
So please accept our condolences, Town Mayor, and if you would be so kind as to pass those on to the First Lady. Thank you.
Yeah, I will. Thank you so much in behalf of the First Lady. Thank you very much. And we tried to go home despite of all the help from the Department of Foreign Affairs, from the British Embassy. And instead of having a 14-day quarantine, we were asked only to have 3 to 4 days. But because of the flight, the situation, there was no available flights. And we only allowed to keep the remains within a certain limit of time, about 2 to 4 days. So it was, impossible for us to go home. So thank you so much for your prayer, for your sympathy and condolences. I will let Maribel know. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Town Mayor. Now, it's just going to my brief now. And it's just a brief update, really, on how we got to and where we are now. If we go back to Monday, the 23rd of March, the Town Council offices were closed following government guidelines, and staff then started working from home on home. On the 30th, the outdoor team and caretakers resumed work, maintaining social distancing guidelines. Relevant safety measures have been put in place at Eastcourt Council offices with screening and hand sanitising points, etc. Staff are now back in the offices and they are divided into 2 teams, alternating between working from home 1 week and in the office the next. Members of the public are allowed into the offices between the hours of 9 and 12, Monday to Friday. In the light of the COVID-19, this council agreed at committee not to have hanging baskets this year, and traders were written to explaining the situation. However, as lockdown has eased, Councillor Whitaker made inquiries and secured plants for the baskets, which are now being put up in the town safely by his volunteers, and we thank him for that. The outdoor team stress tested the brackets, but were not asked to put the baskets up due to the difficulty with social distancing measures. And the outdoor team will undertake the watering of the baskets twice weekly or 3 times when needed in hot weather. And just to finish off, The East Grinstead Emergency Action Group is still continuing to deliver food and prescriptions to those that are still self-isolating. This format, set up by the Town Council to help those people in need during the crisis, has been a resounding success, with much feedback of gratitude from a number of recipients. This is a really, really good format, and it has totally worked very well. We've had so much praise, as I've just mentioned, and we will be continuing that for the near future, although it's starting to tail off a little bit with the demand. Thank you, Town Mayor.
Thank you very much, Town Leader. Is there any comments or any questions to the Town Leader? No? Okay, let's go on to the number 8 of the agenda, to dispose of any business outstanding from the last meetings. There is none. So let's go to the number 9 of the item of the agenda, which is the Principal Council update from the West Sussex County Council, through the kindness of Councillor Mrs. Les Bennett, to give us an update from the West Sussex County Council. Councillor Les Bennett, please.
Thank you very much, Town Mayor. Good evening, fellow councillors, and also a big welcome to Councillor Mrs. Jackie Russell, who I can see has joined us this evening. So I've kind of got my boss looking on as well, because at West Sussex County Council, I'm her advisor in her capacity as a Cabinet Member for Children and Young People. So it's great to have us both here this evening, Town Mayor. I'm going to give you all an update as much as I can, bearing in mind that things can change very quickly on a day-to-day basis. So the update I'm giving you this evening, I received on Wednesday, and it tends to I get an update each week. So do bear in mind that figures might change as we go on. So I'll give you an update, and I'm happy to take any questions as much as I can. So to start off with, recorded cases. So far there have been 1,378 recorded cases in West Sussex, according to the latest data from Public Health England. This is an infection rate of 160.4 per 100,000 residents. It's also, I think I should mention, the Town Clerk and I had a look at the Office of National Statistics, and we believe that around about 43 people in this town of East Grinstead have sadly died due to COVID-19. And we held them in our hearts earlier on when we had a minute's silence for them. They're a huge loss to our community and all their friends and families. West Sussex County Council have published its COVID-19 local outbreak control plan. Every council, every county and unitary council have been asked to publish its plans to deal with local pockets of COVID-19 which may appear. The West Sussex plan, which includes details about the public health response, what action businesses and members of the public might be asked to take, and how this will be communicated. So all this can be found on the West Sussex website, County Council website. If you need, I'm happy to pass that information on to you via email. To ensure the plan is delivering for local residents, a local outbreak engagement board, known as the LOEB, will be established as a subgroup of the County Council's Health and Wellbeing Board. This is chaired by Amanda Jupp, who's the Cabinet Member for Adults and Health, and will report to the quarterly Health and Wellbeing Board. We've had some advice ahead of the pubs and restaurants reopening. We noticed the town was fairly busy over the weekend, And really, West Sussex are asking all residents to follow distancing guidance at all times, to plan ahead. Many pubs and restaurants will be working to strict bookings only policy to limit numbers. So please avoid large gatherings and do not congregate outside licensed premises. A bit of an update on the household waste and recycling sites. They are now operating to summer hours and accepting garden waste, general household waste, wood, cardboard, electrical items, bulky items, white goods, textiles and furniture. But as of this week, I need to give you some extra information, which is a little bit confusing because some things are going to certain sites in West Sussex. So you will note the nearest site to East Grinstead as I explain. Soil and hardcore will now be accepted at all sites, with exception of Bognor, Midhurst and West Hamlet. So we can basically, we'll be all right with it in East Grinstead. Plasterboard can be deposited at Billingshurst, Burgess Hill, Crawley, Horsham, Littlehampton, Shoreham and Worthing. Asbestos can be taken to Burgess Hill, Crawley and Worthing. Vehicles with trailers will also be able to access the Crawley, Billingshurst and Worthing sites on weekday afternoons only, from 1 to 6 p.m. as of Monday the 6th of July. In order to minimise queues, people are asked not to arrive at the sites before they open. Please check opening times and days online before setting off. And to help ensure local distancing measures, please, unless strictly necessary for unloading large or heavy items, only one person should get out of the vehicle. Residents who require assistance, for example, due to mobility issues, can request help by speaking to a member of staff. So if you want to check times and days for your local visit, please go to the westsussexrecycles.org. Okay, what else can I update you on? Libraries. Libraries in West Sussex will be starting a phased reintroduction of services from Monday the 6th of July with a select and collect option from the front doors of all 36 buildings. We have reopened our library catalogue for reservations of specific titles, but realise that not everyone knows exactly what they want to borrow. So we're offering 2 different free services. So that can be either customer select, using the library catalogue for customers to reserve specific titles in the usual way, or by phoning their nearest large library. This excludes existing reservations that have been made before Monday, the 23rd of March. Or you can go for staff select, which allows customers who may not know exactly what they want to borrow to ask for a more general selection of books chosen by one of our expert staff. Customers can complete a simple online form or phone their nearest large library. So whatever selection you've chosen, when your items are available, we'll let you know in the usual way by phone or email and arrange for you to collect them during our more limited library opening services. Please do support the library and just check online. You can always ask me if there's any questions. There are currently no overdue charges for outstanding items, so please do not worry if you're unable to return your books at this stage. I'm moving now onto the community hub and those that are shielding. Following on from the government announcement last week on the relaxation of shielding restrictions, the community hub is preparing to contact those individuals across West Sussex who currently receive the free government food parcel. We believe there are about 35,122 of our shielded community as of the 1st of July. We will explore any concerns or practical barriers to shopping for food and essential supplies from the end of July, with staff able to provide assistance on accessing online telephone delivery and available from supermarkets or other community solutions. The Community Hub will continue to provide the central point of coordinating for urgent practical support, as well as information, advice and guidance for residents of West Sussex. And it is there to provide assistance during this transition phase for those currently shielding and moving forward as an integral part of the Control Outbreak Plan. Residents can still contact the Community Hub between 8 in the morning and 8 in the evening, 7 days a week, either by telephoning. I'll give you the number now, but you can access this number from the website 0330 222 7980, or you can go to westsussex.gov.uk/COVID-19 Community Hub to discuss any questions, concerns, or ongoing requirements. Those shielded can now go outdoors as of the 1st of January with members of their household or one person if they are alone. Almost there. If you need the registration service, this has now started conducting birth registration appointments at certain locations across the county, where they can ensure the necessary social distancing procedures are in place. The service anticipate that they will need to register in excess of 2,000 births in the coming months, as lockdown restrictions stalled at birth registrations since the end of March. Residents will be able to register births at our offices in Crawley, Chichester, Horsham, Haywards Heath and Worthing, and will need to come in for part of the appointment, but each location will have different restrictions which you can find on the website. To register a birth, you will first need to book an appointment online. So please do that at westsussex.gov. Before I hand over back to the town mayor, I just want to update you on some of the casework that I've been doing. I've been having quite a lot of emails and telephone calls from residents that are concerned about trees which are overhanging and causing shade issues. Unfortunately, at the moment, with our budget restraints, we've had to make certain restrictions on what we do. And cutting trees just to stop people having shade issues is something that we can't do at the moment. So I'm having to disappoint quite a few residents with giving that information. But do always come to any of your county councillors and we will contact Highways and see what can or can't be done for you. I had a meeting with the town clerk earlier on this week and also with officers of West Sussex County Council to talk about St Margaret's Loop, which is something all of us are very excited and keen on. We have had talks and West Sussex are going to be having a chat with the Cabinet member for Highways and looking at how they can take this forward. Now at the moment there's quite a few different legal issues which need to be looked at with regards to liability of different things along St Margaret's Loop, mainly the bridges. So once this has been done, I will have more information to give you. But having that ongoing dialogue between all of us is so important, and I'm grateful for everybody. Councillor Jackie Russell has certainly been giving her support as well, and the town clerk. This is a big project. It's going to take some time, but it would be wonderful if we get the right outcome. I hope you'll understand, all the I's need to be dotted and all the T's need to be crossed. Finally, I am very grateful to East Grinstead in Bloom for coming alongside me as a county councillor and looking at the triangle opposite Blackwell School along Blackwell Farm Road. This has been an area of contention for the residents and the school for some time. And I'm pleased to say that my highways manager has given the licence my request to East Grinstead in Bloom so that we can work on this as a community project. This is a great use of taxpayers' money, and it's something that the community and the residents and the school can all get involved in. So as we move forward in that, I can give you more information as well. There was a lot there. Apologies to all of you, and thanks for your patience. I can take any questions or take them away. And I do know Councillor Jackie Russell is here as well, so thank you, Tamara.
Councillor Whitaker would like to ask a question, followed by Councillor Amos.
Thank you, Town Mayor. Councillor Bennett, if I could just ask a couple of things very briefly. First of all, thank you to West Sussex for supporting the local businesses in the new al fresco potential temporary licensing for tables and chairs, etc., which I think is really important and shows great support for local businesses. So thank you for that, which is ongoing in the short term. And secondly, just I've put up 80 hanging baskets, as the town leader said, in the last 7 days. The library currently hasn't got any two baskets, but they've got 2 brackets. Would West Sussex like 2 hanging baskets up there, please?
I can ask for you, Councillor Whitaker, and get back to you, if that's all right. I'd be pleased to ask.
Thank you.
Town Mayor, Councillor Amos, Councillor Osborne, and then Councillor Odie would like to ask questions. Can I ask everybody to mute themselves if they're not actually
okay. Thanks, Deputy Town Mayor. So may call on Councillor Amos, please.
Thank you for that update. It appears that libraries will be offering significantly fewer services, and therefore may I ask whether or not the employees at these libraries are going to face pay cuts? And why is it the case that individual employees are going to pick out books for people when Amazon does a perfectly good job of doing that through algorithms, which is entirely automated, meaning that people could just go on Amazon as opposed to using a library service, which will probably be inferior given the fact it's a public service?
Thank you very much, Councillor Amos. I think the residents of East Grinstead very much like to support our local library, and it's a good opportunity to hire books for a short time rather than buy them and have a lot of book waste. A library is more than just books. It's a really important community asset for this town and for West Sussex County Council. As to staff issues, pay or non-pay, I couldn't answer that. That's something I wouldn't be able to comment on at all. I would like to take this opportunity though, Councillor Amos, as you've reminded me, to thank every employee of our libraries for all they are doing. They're doing a remarkable job, and we're being able to continue this service under very difficult circumstances.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can
Mayor,
you remind me
Town Mayor, before we go on to, I think Councillor Osborne was the next one that wanted to ask a question. But can I ask, somebody is not muted and we're getting some feedback. Can I ask that if you are not asking a question, not actually speaking, that you do please mute yourself? Councillor Osborne.
So Councillor Osborne, please. Next.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Liz, you did mention the fact that the West Sussex were not going to cut back trees for people's comfort, if you like, for shading. But there is a more important aspect to this. I've done quite a lot of walking in recent weeks. And if you walk from Felbridge up to London, up to the town, you will find that the overgrowth from gardens, from private areas, and also from the verges that are West Sussex responsibility, have narrowed the path down to one person in places. It really is quite dangerous, and I think two things need to be done. I think if it's West Sussex responsibility, they should cut it back, and if it belongs to private people, someone should knock on the door and tell them to do it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Osborne. Yes, you're quite right. It can be very difficult with privately owned properties. We do sometimes ask nicely if they'd mind. Sometimes they also receive a letter. If you see anything that belongs to West Sussex that you think needs cutting back, if you can report it, and your local councillors will follow that through.
Okay, what about the other part of it? What about the where it's overflowing from private property? A good example of that is where all the kids get off the bus near the Felbridge Hotel, and they walk up, and as the traffic comes up fast on the inside, that is down to one lane very often, and that is because it's overgrowing from private property. I personally think that if the county's going to do it, they should bill people, and they'll soon get used to cutting it back if they don't want to get a bill. That's how it used to be.
Yeah, I'll pass that on, Councillor Osborne.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Osborne.
The next one is Councillor Odie, and then Councillor Amos would like to come back at your discretion.
Okay, Councillor Odie, please.
Thank you, Town Mayor. Thanks, Deputy Town Mayor. Thanks, Liz. Great report. And as you're probably not too surprised, I'm really glad that St Margaret's Loop is finally sort of moving along reasonably nicely. I just wanted to query something really with regards to and Councillor Whitaker mentioned it a minute ago about the sort of al fresco side of things in the town. And it was great. There was a few establishments that were using the outside space. And I just wondered, what do all of the other businesses in town need to do to be able to have the same sort of access to that path or use of West Sussex land, if you like, outside their shops to be able to trade outside?
Thank you, Councillor Odie. It's my understanding that anyone can apply. Obviously, it's looked at on an individual basis depending on how much room each establishment has. So some might need it, some won't. But I know we have Councillor Mrs. Russell here. So I would advise perhaps speaking to her, sending an email outside of this meeting. But I do know it's open to anybody to apply.
Okay, great. Yep, thank you. I'll maybe drop Mrs. Russell an email.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Odie.
Councillor Amos would like to come back, but we also have Councillor Mr. Bells who would like to ask a question.
Okay, I would like to give Councillor Amos a quick time, please. Councillor Amos.
Thank you. It's interesting to note that Hay and Straw and their application to put tables and chairs out on the pavement is still pending, and that's over a year ago. So it shows how inefficient West Sussex County Council can be. But nonetheless, how much debt has been incurred by West Sussex County Council as a result of this crisis? And which services are the County Council looking to cut in order to balance the books? Because there's going to be a lot of debt at the end of this, and I think some consideration of what to cut is certainly in order.
I won't be answering your second question, Councillor Amos. What I will tell you is that West Sussex County Council is focusing now on protection, keeping everybody safe and dealing with the COVID virus, which has to be the #1 priority. So that, I'm wondering whether Councillor Amos, you've got some noise coming from your background. Sorry, I'm being a bit distracted.
There is still one councillor who hasn't muted.
That's gone.
Thank you very much. Councillor Amos, if you would like me to take anything forward to West Sussex County Council, if you would please email me at my West Sussex County Council email address, and I will take that forward for you.
Okay, thank you. And may I call on Councillor Mrs. Belsey, please? Councillor Mrs. Belsey? No?
I think it might be
Councillor Mrs. Belsey?
John Belsey.
Councillor John Belsey.
Oh, John Belsey. Is it John Belsey?
It is.
So it was,
Okay.
I didn't mean to indicate, but thank you very much for the update, Councillor Liz Bennett.
Okay then, thank you. So that's it. Liz, can you give me the recent update of the care home or nursing home regarding COVID, infected there? Any latest?
Thank you, Town Mayor. At the moment, there are 235 care homes for older people in West Sussex. The care homes provide around about 8,600 beds, and a third of these are commissioned by the County Council, with the remainder commissioned through other local authorities, health, or funded directly by residents. Public Health England have confirmed in West Sussex that 147, which is a cumulative total, it's rounded up basically, care settings have confirmed or suspected clusters of COVID-19, and an additional 1 case since last week. So does that make sense? 147, and then an additional 1 case since last week. Local data on care homes reports admissions are currently restricted in 13 care homes for older people, 26 care homes for mental health and learning disability, 2 domiciliary care providers, and 2 supported living settings. And I think the impact of COVID-19 continues to be seen in care homes, with double the number of vacancies now as compared with the same period in June 2019. So this is a concern. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a very interesting, very important, very comprehensive update. Can our Deputy Town Mayor add to the vote of thanks to Councillor Liz Bennett?
Sorry, Chairman, before you do, Mrs. Belsey indicating to speak.
All right. So before that, Councillor Mrs. Belsey, please.
Thank you very much. Having Councillor Bennett and Councillor Russell with us this evening, we possible to give an update on children's homes and the problems that they were facing, and an update of steps they've taken and where we are?
Thank you very much, Councillor Mrs. Belsey. I would need to get an update. I don't have anything on me at the moment. Whether Councillor Mrs. Russell is Cabinet member would like to speak to you, but otherwise we can get something to you via email. I'll put that back to you, Town Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, thanks, Liz. Would you like to say something, Councillor Jackie Russell?
Yeah, thank
you. Just to answer the question about children's homes, as you know, we've got 3 that have been closed for nearly 2 years. They are currently due to reopen January, February, slightly behind their original schedule of December, January due to COVID. Sisbury Lodge has just had the contract awarded to a contractor, and May House and Seaside will follow. So they are already underway with regards to being reopened. I'm happy to take any questions on children's if anybody wants to ask.
So any question for Councillor Jackie Russell? None? Okay, thank you so much. That was a very interesting, very comprehensive update, Councillor Les Bennett. And I would like to acknowledge really the presence of, and thanks the presence of Councillor Jackie Russell. And I can see as well Councillor Norman Webster here. Thank you for coming, thank you. Now, thanks, Liz. Would you like to add a vote of thanks, Deputy Town Mayor?
Yes, I'd particularly like to ask for a vote of thanks for an extremely comprehensive and cumulative and comprehensive update. Thank you so much. And also, of course, always to our West Sussex County Councillor, Councillor Mrs Russell, and also to our Cabinet member from Mid Sussex District Council, Councillor Norman Webster, for joining us tonight as well. Thank you very much indeed, all of you.
Yeah. Thank you. So let's move on to the next item. Item number 10, to receive and consider the minutes of the committees. I would like to start with the planning committee, with the chairman, Councillor Visser, please give us any update of actions of the planning.
Thank you, Town Mayor. Firstly, I'd like to say a very big thank you to my committee and to the Town Clerk for really taking to the virtual meetings and doing such a fantastic job on them. I think everyone that's come in and seen them can agree that they've really taken brilliantly to it. So a huge thank you to the committee and to the Town Clerk again for that, and well done everyone. And I look forward to the next one on the 13th. I would like to propose the following minutes. There's quite a few. So we'll start with the 29th of the 1st, 2020, pages 133 to 141, minute numbers 251 to 258. The 17th of February, pages 142 to 150, minute numbers 259 to 265. The 9th of March, page numbers 151 to 157, minute numbers 266 to 273. The 13th of May, 2020, page numbers 1 to 6, minute numbers 1 to 8. The 1st of the 6th, page numbers 7 to 14, minute numbers 9 to 15. And finally, the 22nd of the 6th, page numbers 27 to 33, minute numbers 55 to 62. So we have a second for those.
Yes. Any second?
Thank you, Deputy Town Mayor. Anybody got any questions at all on that?
We have Councillor Whittaker, and yes, Councillor Whittaker.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd just like to congratulate you, Councillor Visser, for superb management of the virtual meetings. They're difficult enough, but when you're doing planning, I believe when you chair those meetings, you have 3 separate screens and also interacting with the Town Clerk virtually, which is an incredible skill set. So well done to you personally, and thank you. I've been attending those meetings virtually, and not a member of your committee, but I can vouch that they have been superbly professional. So I'd like to thank everybody concerned. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I will second that, comment. Now, any other question? No? Now, may I now take a vote for acceptance of all the planning minutes in block? Raise your hands, please. Yeah, it's unanimous. Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, thank you, Councillor Visser, the chairman of the planning. And the second one is the Public Services Committee with the chairman, Councillor Julie Markford. Please.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to just say a couple of things about services that feed into the public services. I mean, both you and I, Town Mayor, are very, very proud of Queen Vic and the fact that it's the only COVID-free hospital in the whole of the South East, and long may that continue. The fact that we are taking in more head and neck cancers to release other hospitals so that they can bring down the numbers, and that ward is getting incredibly busy. But the other thing I would like to thank is, we met him at our last meeting, is our really super duper new inspector, who really seems to have hit the ground running. And his Twitter page is amazing. I mean, he's just so exciting, and I'm really looking forward to working with him. So that's all I want to say, but I would like to propose the minutes of the public services meetings. I have two. One dated the 12th of March 2020, page numbers 158 to 163, minute numbers 274 to 291, and the public services meeting held on the 4th of June 2020, pages numbers 15 to 18, minute numbers 16 to 26. I'd like to propose those. May I have a second?
Chairman, I'm happy to second that.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Town Mayor, we have a question from Councillor Amos.
Councillor Amos, please.
Thank you.
Yes, it's not specifically on the minutes, but I asked for a target from the inspector and I haven't been able to find his email. Does the chairman have the email for the new inspector?
Off the top of my head, I don't, but I'm sure the town clerk would. Am I right, town clerk?
Sorry, Chair. Yeah, I've got it. I'll send it to you, Councillor Amos. No problem.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So, could I have a show of hands?
All in favor? Yeah. Okay, all in favor. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman, Mrs. Councillor, Mrs. Julie Mockford. The next is the amenities in tourism, please. Chairman, Councillor, Mrs. Maidstone. You are muted.
I'm back.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wish to move for adoption the minutes of the Amenities and Tourism Committee of the 10th of June 2020, pages 19 to 22 and minute number 27 to 38. Have I got a seconder?
I would like to second that, Chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Is there any question?
No.
Can I now take a vote for acceptance of this minute?
Sorry, Chairman. I'm not sure if Councillor Amos was asking a question. His hand is still raised.
I believe he's left it up.
Oh.
We've voted now.
Yeah. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. The next one is the finance and general purposes. The town leader, Councillor Dick Sweetman, please.
Thank you, Town Mayor. I would like to propose some minutes for the 18th of the 6th, 2020, page numbers 23 to 26, and minute number 39 to 54. Do I have a seconder for those minutes, please?
I would like to second that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any question? No? Can I now take a vote for acceptance of this minute? Raise your hands, please. Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you. Now, the next is the special council meeting. Can I propose for this for consideration and approval the special council minutes dated on the 18th of the 6th, 2020, page number 1, minutes number 1 and 2. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll be happy to second that, Town Mayor.
Any question? All in favor? Raise your hand. Thank you. Thank you. So that's the end of the item number 10 of the agenda. Let's go to the number 11. And that is to authorize the sealing of the following documents. grant executive right of burial numbers 2189, 2190, 2191, 2192, 2193, 2194, 2195, 2196, 2197, 2198, 2199, 2200, and 2201. Can I propose for this for approval?
I'll be happy to second that, Town Mayor.
Thank you. Any question? No. All in favor? Thank you. The next agenda number 12 is to approve the recommended changes for standing orders from the Finance and General Purpose Committee and the financial regulations as approved by delegated decision of the Finance and General Purposes Committee. Number 1 is Council are recommended by the Finance and General Purposes Committee to approve changes to Standing Order 1B, 1H, and 1L to tidy up the regulation for virtual meetings as currently permitted. Minutes 54, 18th of June 2020 refers. Number 2, a delegated decision was taken by the clerk in discussion with the chair and vice chair for Finance and General Purposes Committee to adopt the changes as set out in Appendix B to the FNGP report of 26 March. As changes to FOs are subject to council approval, this need of formal approving. Council are recommended to approve these amendments. Can I propose this for approval? Can I have a seconder?
I'll be happy to second that, Town Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Town Mayor. Any question? No. All in favor? Thank you. Excuse me, I'm running low battery, so I just want to.
Councillor Osborne, whilst Town Mayor deals with that, can I just point out that to actually vote on it, you raise your hand physically. If you want to ask a question, you do it on the little blue thing on the side. So you're getting the two around about the wrong way a little bit at the moment, sir.
Yeah, I left it out by mistake. Hang on, I'll take it down. There we go. Hang on. I'll get it right in a minute. Yeah, I'm
Thank you
not.
for that. Sorry about that. Okay, let's move on to agenda number 13, meetings of the council, annual meeting 2020, following the COVID-19 outbreak, creating a need to take the meetings to a virtual platform. The annual council meeting was delayed from 11th May. It is proposed that the meeting be rescheduled for when meetings in person may be allowed. This meeting could be the scheduled meeting of the 5th of October. However, as it is proposed to be the mayor making with a specified agenda rather than the ordinary matters, it is proposed to be 28 September as a special meeting. Council are asked to confirm 28 September to be the date set for annual council. Can I propose this for approval? Any seconder?
I'm happy to second that, Town Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Town Mayor. Any question? None. All in favor? Raise your hands. Thank you. Thank you. Agenda number 14, to appoint trustees. There is one council-nominated vacancy on each charity. The nomination is for Councillor Helen Farren to take the seat on Checkermead Arts and Community Center, and Councillor Steve Odie to take the seat on the East Grinstead Museum. Nominees are reminded that they sit on the charity as a representative of the council, but they sit as a trustee, and therefore must always act in the best interest of the trust at those meetings. Declaration will need updating, and interest must be declared as pecuniary if the charity appears on the council or committee agendas. Council are recommended to appoint Councillor Mrs. Farin and Councillor Odie to the Chickermead Arts and Community Trust and Grinstead Museum, respectively.
Town Mayor, can I just interrupt for a second, please? I apologise, but we do just need to note some personal interests on this one, because we do have trustees of those charities present in the room. So if we can just take the interests, please, but they are personal. You are able to vote. It's fine. They're not pecuniary interests.
Okay, Town Mayor, I'd like to second that.
Thank you. So, any question? No question? Any?
Chairman, could I please ask that the interests be thank you, Councillor Visser, I can see. Councillor, thank you. Can we just
right.
raise our interest, please?
Yeah, the interest, please, Councillor Visser and Councillor Frank Osborne. And who else, please?
So for Councillor Whittaker, Councillor Mrs. Rockford, and Councillor Osborne. That's it for the moment.
My hands are up in the air, I believe.
I can see you, Councillor Osborne.
Right.
That's lovely. Thank you, Town Mayor. I apologise. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. It's a unanimous, Town Clerk. Thank you. Congratulations, Councillor Farin and Councillor Steve Odie. Thank you. Agenda number 15 is the Model Member Code of Conduct. The purpose is to advise Council that the Local Government Association have developed a new Model Code of Conduct, which is currently open for consultation responses. The code is available on the link that was circulated. The background, the Council's current Code of Conduct was adopted in April 2015 and followed the Model Code of Conduct at the time. The code sets out the principles of public life and the conduct expected of a member of the council. As the mechanism for scrutiny against the code, in the event of a complaint, it is our district council monitoring officer. This council have previously determined that for ease, the Grinstead Town Council Code should closely follow the district council code. It is not known at this time whether the district will adopt the new code. However, once the code is finalized and issued, this will be brought back to the council for consideration and adoption. In the meantime, the document is available in order for any comments to be fed back during the consultation to be drawn to the attention of our town clerk. Recommendation, council are asked for any comments on the consultation to be advised to the clerk, either at the meeting or no later in writing by 1st of August. The closing date is 17th of August. Is there anyone has a comments that they can be taken now?
Town Mayor, we have Councillor Amos has raised his hand.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Amos, please.
Yes, I think this report that the Local Government Association has put out is a total, well, not a total, but a partial waste of time, because so many of the items that they have proposed as rules in the Code of Conduct are just so loose in their nature that they are inevitably political. For example, under civility, Article 1, treating other councillors and members of the public with civility. I mean, how are you to define civility? The town clerk on the past has said that I shouldn't say, or I should be advised against saying a bunch of councillors pejoratively. Now, I did use that term pejoratively because I do concern the planning committee to not be the best means of determining a housing supply, but I don't think that kind of thing should possibly be ruled out by a code of conduct. There is also the bullying and harassment clause. I don't think we should have a clause that says no bullying or harassment of any person. It's vague and indefinable and is essentially made up by Tom Clark, our monitoring officer, and he can determine the judgment before he's even seen the evidence because the words are so loose. Far better to have a clause which says no person may threaten violence against person or property, because that's very clear and definite and far less open for debate. And then there's the disrepute clause, which is Article 7 in this document. not bringing my role of a council into, no, it's not bringing my role or council into disrepute. I mean, this is a ridiculous statement, because disrepute means a state of low public esteem, and it essentially can be determined, as I've said before, by Tom Clark, the monitoring officer. I got a letter recently from Tom Clark for saying certain things at university, and he's said that I violated various bits of this code of conduct. And one of the sentences that he came out with in this letter, which is preposterous, is, and this is in regards to me breaching Article 7 of this new code, but the disrepute clause in our current code of conduct. Members noted, this is referring to the standards committee that determines to a certain extent on the breach. Members noted that free speech must be respected, but this must not be on the basis, you do not cause unnecessary upset to other members of the community. I mean, what nonsense is that? So I don't think that the town council should adopt the majority of this document because it's political. Fraser's accused me of breaching the code of conduct. I've accused Dick of it. It's a political tool that can be waved about because the terms are so indefinite. And as far as I'm concerned, we shouldn't have that kind of political activity in determining a code of conduct breach, and therefore far better to just get rid of a load of these proposals that have been put forward, which are indefinable and innately political.
Thank you, Councillor Amos. For me,
there are others that like to speak. Town Mayor, Councillor Sweatman, Councillor Osborne, Councillor Bennett, Councillor Visser, and Councillor Whitaker. But starting with Town Leader, Councillor Dick Sweatman.
Okay, can I start with Councillor Sweatman?
Thank you, Town Mayor. Yes, I note Councillor Amos's comments. The code of conduct out there is a set of guidelines and rules for people to follow. What I will briefly suggest to Councillor Amos is that if he does any questions, perhaps he'd care to write into the consultation group that will be putting this forward via the town clerk. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sweatman. Who is the next one?
Councillor Osborne.
Councillor Osborne, please.
Yeah, I think Councillor Amos spoke a lot of sense there, because quite frankly, I'm always a bit bothered when unelected people tell elected people how to behave. And I've crossed swords with Tom Clark when I was first elected. There was accusations against me of by a Lib Dem person, and it was absolute bloody nonsense. And quite frankly, I think we should be very careful what we go along with. And I think that the essence of what Councillor Amos says is quite a bit I would agree with there. I think caution. I say I don't like the idea of anybody who's not elected trying to sort of pass judgment on the behaviour of somebody who is. Thank you very much. That's it. You heard
it. Councillor Bennett next. Thelma.
Who is next one?
Councillor Liz Bennett is next.
Councillor Liz Bennett, please.
Thank you very much, Town Mayor. First of all, probably as we're going into more of a debate on this, I would like to declare my interest as a member of the Standards Committee for Mid Sussex District Council. I also recognise that we have Councillor Norman Webster with us this evening, and standards falls into his portfolio at Mid Sussex. Councillor Amos, we cannot rewrite the code of conduct. It is what it is, and as councillors, we learn the importance of some of those things within the code of conduct and how important it is the way we speak to people and the way we act in our committees and with our residents. And I'm wondering whether Councillor Amos might feel the need to retake some training just so that he is aware of the code of conduct for future use. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Town Mayor, Councillor Visser is next.
Councillor Visser, please. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Town Mayor. I think that Councillor Bennett's suggestion there is a fantastic one. I think that we are, as elected officials who represent all types of people within our communities, we should be very held to the highest standard of how we conduct ourselves personally and professionally in meetings, and what we say and don't say, and how we say it, and how that can be interpreted by all sorts of different people. I know that I believe personally that Councillor Amos, as he very accurately says, I have reported him to standards before for his conduct, and I believe that he is only disputing this because he's probably the one that is going to suffer from it the greatest, because he does seem to breach it most often. So I do think that maybe training could be beneficial to him, and I think that's a great suggestion, Councillor Bennett. Thank you.
Town Mayor, Councillor Whittaker would like.
Okay. Councillor Whittaker, please.
Yeah, thank you, Town Mayor. Yeah, I just reiterate a couple of the points there. Councillor Amos, you know, I have great respect for, you know, you're a year into this council term, and, you know, you're very young by years. You bring a lot to the town council table. I would call you, you know, a very sharp knife on both edges, but you need to learn the system. I would reiterate that the code of conduct is there, that basically it's the Nolan principles, the 7 Nolan principles of public life. And I'd refer you to those with the greatest of respect. You and I personally get on very well, and you know where I'm coming from. And I would urge you, please, to reread those. And I think Councillor Bennett's comments about extra training, I think, is very apt. Mr. Clark is the solicitor for the district council. There is a standards committee. There is a process to go through. It's inappropriate for you to mention some of the comments you've mentioned already this evening. And I'm not going to comment further on those. Suffice to say that please read and research, as I know you do avidly, the Nolan principles of public life, because basically that's what many of us have been doing on this town council and district council and county council, and that's what those are the standards. They haven't changed essentially. So please, I would urge you to reread those. Thank you.
Town Mayor, we have Councillor Amos at your discretion, and also Councillor Osborne. Again, at your discretion, it's entirely up to you whether you allow them to come back again.
Okay, just a quick one, Councillor Charles Amos, please.
The problem with the code of conduct is that every word within it is so loose that Tom Clark can make up whatever he wants. And I've told him this, and he refuses to admit that that is the truth. Training is a waste of public money. And I do think it is absurd for the council as a whole, or many members of the council, to say that I should be looking at the principles of public life within the code of conduct, when this council was elected on a manifesto pledge to keep council tax down, and yet it raised council tax by the largest amount in 15 years. That is lying to the public, and yet you have the audacity to say that I'm not following the code of conduct. Lying is very clear. You've broken your promise. Everything else that I have said in regards to immigration, etc., is incredibly debatable and open to interpretation according to the discretion of the Tom Clark, who no doubt has certain political views of his own. So I will not be taking such training. It's a waste of public money, and it shouldn't even be there to be provided.
Thank you, Councillor Amos. And any other comments?
Yeah, me.
Councillor Osborne.
Okay, Councillor Osborne.
Yeah, I mean, Councillor Amos is beginning to lose me a bit there, but what I would say is that I do share that concern. I trust the councillors, the people elected. If there is an issue and it needs to be judged, I'd like to be judged by my peers, which is elected members. I'm not happy about being judged by a solicitor of the district council. As I say, I think Councillor Amos has said it, and I see it that way as well. It's a case of that he's making interpretation. He's making the judgment. He's coming up with a solution he thinks right, not necessarily what other members would think right. And I'm not happy about that at all. All I would say to you is be cautious about this. Free speech has been around for a hell of a long time, and it should be protected. And one should always be cautious. And I've sat on this council for 50 years. I've never known this kind of situation happened before, but it's happened in recent years. There's more suspicion. There's more people want to batten down on other people. And all I would say is that it's all very well when things are going well, but if you're actually in the hot seat and you're being judged by one other person, as I say, who's not elected, then you just beware and be cautious of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Osborne.
Town Mayor, we have Councillor Whitaker would like to come back at your discretion, and also Councillor Belsey would like to speak as well.
Okay, Councillor Whitaker, please.
Thank you, Town Mayor. There is a procedure. The Town Clerk, I'd like to, if you can, please, Town Clerk, to clarify the procedure. This is not about Mr. Clark. This is about the procedure. There is a standards committee. Can you please explain? Because I think people have got the wrong end of the stick.
Thank you, Councillor Whitaker. I actually was looking to try to get in. I just need to explain something. I think you've taken yourself slightly onto a bit of a tangent. The Code of Conduct is a national code of conduct which has been revised by the LGA, the Local Government Association, which has nothing whatsoever to do with the monitoring officer at Mid Sussex District Council. The Code of Conduct is being rewritten. It's currently out for consultation. This council will have an opportunity to decide whether it wishes to adopt the new Code of Conduct, or it will have the opportunity to remain its current code of conduct. The process we've had in the past has been to follow the one at the district, because it is easier for, and you could say we don't have to take the easy point of view, that's within the gift of this council, but it's easier for the district council, who are our sanctioning body. They are the people who will look at the complaint. It is not dealt with inside the town council. It's dealt with by the monitoring officer at the district council. We do not have a monitoring officer, so it's dealt with by the monitoring officer at the district council. And so using the same code of conduct for all of the towns and parishes, or very broadly the same as the one that they use in the district, makes it easier for consistent decision making. The district council have a standards committee. Councillor Mrs. Bennett has mentioned that she is a member of it. There's a group of councillors who are elected to sit on that standards committee. All complaints which are deemed to have some substance, whereby there may be something that has to be looked at, are referred onto that committee. So they are considered by elected members. You can't be found guilty of a breach by an officer at the district council. It has to have gone through a committee of councillors. So I'm not arguing the rights or wrongs of the new code of conduct that's in front of you. That is for us to consider, but at the moment it's just a consultation. But I just want to draw you back in, and I am somewhat perturbed that this has become a little bit personal, and that's not what this matter is about. This is a public forum, and I would urge all councillors to please can we take the personal out, the personalities, the personal issues out of it. This is simply talking about the code of conduct, and it is simply talking about the proposed new code of conduct, which you are being asked for comments on. Some valid comments have been made, and I'm sure that you'll send them all through to me over the next few weeks, which is absolutely fine. But I really would ask council, please, to perhaps temper some of your more personal comments that have been made, because it's actually not appropriate.
Town Mayor, there's just Councillor Belsey that hasn't had a chance to speak yet. And then with respect, I suggest...
Okay, this is the last one now. Councillor John Belsey, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Just, well, I was going to echo the town clerk's comments, to be honest, but I think it's also just worth noting, there was a lot of comment about the monitoring officer. Just, I mean, are also 3 independent people that he consults when complaints come in, who are drawn from public life and who you know, are selected from a very large applicant list, and so things aren't actually just taken forward on the monitoring officers say so. And indeed the committee also reflects not just district councillors, it's also got town and parish councillors on it as well, who also consider it. So I think it's actually drawn quite widely when things are taken forward, and it's not the decision of just one officer. So that was the point I really wanted to make. And as the town clerk said, it's national guidelines that are being developed, and I think it would be very odd if we decided not to follow those. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I think this is similar to what we follow as well in our nursing profession. We follow a professional code of conduct, so followed by the policies and procedure like anti-bullying, racism, so this code of conduct is very important in every organization. So for further comments, please comment on the consultation address to the town clerk. No later than in writing in August 1. The closing date will be 17th of August. Thank you. Now, the last agenda, number 16, is motion for return to physical meetings. Councillor Amos has put forward the following motion. In light of the recent government advice and given the need to set an example for the town, it is proposed to return to physical council and committee meetings in the council chamber, or failing this outside and the East Court grounds. Would you like to propose this, Councillor Amos?
Yes, thank you. In regards to the town clerk's comments about indoor meetings, I think considering the government guidelines, the town clerk has made a very clear case that we cannot have indoor meetings at East Court. I think that's settled, and therefore I will not be arguing for that part of the motion, but rather exclusively for outside meetings in East Court's grounds. Essentially, I have 2 points to make. The first is we must set an example for the town. The government and the majority, in fact, all of the people on this council, apart from myself, are members of the governing party. The government has made clear that they wish people to get back to work, to encourage people to go out to shops and spend money and revitalise the economy in after what is expected to be the deepest recession in over 300 years. Indeed, they've taken the decision to go from a primarily virtual parliament to a normal parliament. So I see no reason as to why we, as elected members, should not do the same thing. Jacob Rees-Mogg is absolutely right in saying what he says, that being, you cannot have proper debate without seeing people eye to eye instead of through a screen. That's the first point. The second point is, if we're not going to return to normality, then there has to be some consequence for us as councillors. And I think that should mean a reduction in our allowances. But given that that motion was not allowed to be considered this evening because it wasn't deemed appropriate, I think we should return to normality. The reason why I thought about proposing the councillors' allowance and a cut to it is that we're not commuting to East Court anymore. And therefore, that part of the allowance for driving, which even the leader of the town council has admitted is a small part, nonetheless, it is a part, cannot be cut. Or rather, he doesn't. It needs to be cut, and if it's not cut, we need to return to normality. There has to be some consequence for us having these meetings like this, and that is a cut to the allowances. But since none of us are considering that, or certainly not being allowed to consider it at the moment, we must return to normality. And I think that can be done outside perfectly well. They do it in the House of Commons. We can do it outside in East Court's grounds. I'll happily take any questions if necessary.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Amos.
Councillor Visser would like to speak.
Councillor Visser, please.
Sorry, Chairman, you have to have a second before we can discuss, please.
Okay, so can I have a second for this motion, please?
Seconded by Councillor
Frank Osborne, yeah?
Yeah, can I speak on as I seconded it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not very happy at all with this proposal as it stands, but I do feel that we do need to commit ourselves to returning as soon as possible to normal meetings, ideally in the council chamber. We haven't done that. What I would really like to see happen today is that we we amend this proposal. There is an amendment which says as soon as it is safe and practicable to do so. I think that would make sense, and that would be a commitment for the council to get back to normal meetings. I don't like this. I mean, some people might like these Zoom meetings. I find them impersonal. I find you can't see the whites of their eyes, and I don't find you don't get a proper debate as it stands at the moment. You know, to me, it's totally disappointing. My internet goes offline now and again, all that business there, and the speaker makes funny noises. I want to see people across the table where I feel that I can actually get my point over. So I'm seconding this. If it's not seconded, I will vote against it. But I do hope that someone, or even perhaps I don't know if I can, but I will propose the amendment as I've indicated.
Councillor Osborne can second the motion. He can't amend it immediately.
Not immediately, but I can do it later.
During the discussion, you can make a proposal for an amendment, but right now you can all you can do is second. Otherwise, if you try to amend it at this point, it's not seconded. So
no, I get that.
Second it.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
so
I'll finish for the time being.
Okay, that motion was seconded by Councillor Frank Osborne. Councillor Visser is raising hands.
Thank you, Town Mayor. I think, like everyone, we would like to get back to normality or the new normal when it is safe to do so. It is also when it is safe and when it is practical. And two things that come to mind. One is we're entering into the winter months, and holding things outside at the moment when it's lovely and sunny is fine. That will become less and less practical as it gets colder and darker. On a separate note, with planning, I think two things concern me. One is obviously we use the projector to show things that is only really doable within the council chamber. It'd be very difficult to do anywhere else, and to control the light, etc. And the other is we do get a large number of members of the public, so coming inside would be totally impractical and difficult to manage. And under government guidelines of meetings, it's fine to do it, but not for long periods of time. And our meetings for planning can be lengthy. I've actually found that the Zoom meetings have worked well within planning because people can see the plans very clearly on their screens in front of them. They get the PDF of them, and I personally think I've enjoyed doing them. I think the committee's enjoyed operating in that way. I understand Councillor Amos and Councillor Osborne, you can't see the whites of their eyes for the debate, but I do think that it's working well, and I would only want to see it going back when it is, one, safe to do so, and secondly, practical to do so.
Town Mayor, the Town Leader, Councillor Swetman, would like to.
Okay, Councillor Dick-Swetman, please.
Thank you, Town Mayor. As regards getting back to physical meetings in our committees, we've already said in the past that we will go back. At the moment, it could be September, but we have to follow the government guidelines as a responsible authority, not only to ourselves, our staff, and members of the public. Now, funnily enough, I think it negates Councillor Osborne's question tonight about going back to work, because you have all agreed the F&GP minutes tonight, and basically it says in there, if you read it, and the intention is to return to physical council meetings by the end of September, if not sooner. And this actually does depend on the government guidelines, which we will have to follow. Now, as Councillor Amos's suggestion that you have meetings outside, well, that is totally impractical. If it's inclement weather, you're either going to get wet or have brollies. You'll be masked up, have to keep 2 meters distance. You won't be able to hear each other talk because the distancing. It's totally impractical. And as Councillor Visser says, his planning meetings are working extremely well online, as they are with the district council. And I think you all agree here, we are in different times. It takes a bit of while to get used to Zoom meetings, but it is at the moment, it is what it is, and it seems to be working very well. We will go back as soon as we are allowed to do so. Thank you.
Town Mayor, the Deputy Town Leader, Councillor Peacock would like to speak.
Okay, Councillor Peacock, please.
Thank you, Town Mayor. I'd just like to re-echo the words of the Town Leader, Councillor Sweatman and Councillor Visser. I think also we need to remember that at this stage, we're now coming to an end of the government's slowly loosening restrictions, and the only reason why the infection rate's gone down is because of the draconian lockdown. So at the moment we're in a transition phase where we've just opened up pubs and other, how should we say, locations where people can intermingle, and I think we do have to follow the government guidelines. Secondly, in terms of the comments about not being able to have a proper debate, I think we've had some robust and dynamic and interesting debates tonight. So I would disagree with comments expressed about that. So it's just my couple of thoughts. Thank you.
Okay, anymore?
Councillor Edward Matthews would like to speak.
Okay, Councillor Edward Matthews, please.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to propose that we move to the vote.
Okay, so there is a motion on the table that was presented by Councillor Amos, seconded by Councillor Osborne. Shall we vote on that, Town Clerk?
The request has been to put to the vote, which means you have to move to the vote, Chairman. Yes.
Okay, so any in favor for that motion? Raise your hands. None? Can I see any hands? Oh, there's Councillor Amos. And are you raising your hand, Councillor Peacock?
No, apologies, I forgot to take it down, sorry.
Okay, Councillor Amos. I can't see any hands. Only Councillor Amos. So,
Can I speak?
I'm afraid not, Councillor Amos. We have to go to the vote. That is in the standing orders.
Well, nobody voted for Mr. Edwards, Councillor Edwards' proposal, so it's finished.
That's the second one.
No. If you read the standing orders, if the councillor asks it to put to the vote, it has to be put to the vote there and then. It bypasses everything. If you read it, it's in the standing orders.
Well, I will speak to him after.
Can I make an amendment?
No, we're trying to vote at the moment, Councillor Osborne, I'm afraid.
All right, well, hang on a minute. Okay, where are we?
Okay, let's finish first the first one.
What is the proposal?
The proposal is the motion as is. In light of recent government advice and given the need to set an example for the town, it's proposed to return to physical council and committee meetings in the chamber or failing this outside in the East Court grounds. Councillor Amos in his introduction said that he understood not in the chamber, but that is the motion as it stands. And that is the motion that you are voting on. It's been seconded by yourself. It's had some conversation and Councillor Matthews has asked for the matter to be put to the vote, which means you have to now vote.
Okay.
Okay. So let's, shall we start the raising the hand again, just to make sure? Okay. All in favor, can you raise your hands? So, Councillor Amos. So,
Could you call for all against, please, Chairman?
for all against, please. Can you raise your hands for all against?
The
Okay.
motion fails and it is noted
Failed.
there are some abstentions.
So, shall I accept for any proposal?
So the motion has failed, Chairman.
The first, okay. Motion failed. So that means that we'll go.
It's the end of item 16. The motion has failed.
Okay, so it means that we will go a virtual meeting as approved, and Okay. And that's the agenda. And the date of the next ordinary meeting of the Town Council will be in September. This is September 28th, followed by the council meeting again on October 5. It's Monday. This is the mayor making. And again, I just want to thanks everyone for your support, for your great participation. It was a very good meeting. And I would like to acknowledge and thanks again, Councillor Norman Webster, Councillor Jack Russell, and everybody who was here. Town clerk and everyone, Deputy Town Mayor, thank you for your support at all time. And it was a great meeting. Thank you. Thank you. That's the end of the meeting. And we can stop the recording now.
Chairman, if you could just please give the time of the end of the meeting.
The time now is 20:56. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the most